either he took a picture of Jayden studying the film or had either video or a picture of practice. Not going to be the end of the world. From a football standpoint, probably is not a game changer in preparing for Washington in the event that San Francisco had to play them. But it is a strange thing that your quarterback is in a situation where his buddy plays in the league, and at least publicly it would appear is getting some access to practice behind the scenes. And if you're saying, oh, it's just practice, it's not a big deal, it's summer, well, then why are there only 5 open practices at training camp? Why does the team think it's beneficial and helpful to have fewer of you at practices, fewer media eyeballs at sessions? Because they're getting things done and they're building their offense, and they think right now they have the ability to surprise people without anybody having seen what they're going to be running. Phones are open, 800-636-1067, 800-636-1067.
Yeah, nothing changes big picture for me. I wanted Jayden Daniels to be drafted. I'm glad he's here. I think overall I've been thoroughly impressed with him. The good glowing reports that have come out of Ashburn have been exciting, if I'm not cautiously optimistic. Seems to be ready to take the league by storm. I think he has a great potential to have an awesome season and a wonderful career. That hasn't changed before this, during this, or after this. I would say this is one of those things, just like my freshman, no, I'm not the same as a pro athlete, but like my freshman year, I did stupid stuff that I would never have done my senior year. This is the thing. This is a growing, teachable moment where you go, even though it's probably not that big a deal, easy to not do this. Let's handle all the things that are easy to not do. Let's not, go 120 miles an hour on a road at 4:00 in the morning. Let's not send screen grabs to our friends of practice. Let's not share trade secrets and craft with people on other teams. These are simple, easy things. We learn. Let's move on. I'll see you at practice.
Yeah, it's bad judgment. And it's one of those things you learn from, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. I think what's so jarring for people maybe is that it is unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. I don't know that we've ever seen a player post another team's practice footage in this way, right? Like that doesn't really happen. And the fact that they've been this inseparable social media Abbott and Costello tandem for the last couple of weeks, and they're hanging out and they're shopping and they're going to buffets and they're kicking it together. It's pretty clear where it came from, but you don't see this. You don't see an NFL player showing everyone, hey, I have access of what they're doing right now. And he's doing it for a reason. Yeah. He's trying to get out of San Fran.
He's got an agenda.
I likened this to he wants his divorce, and he's posting a picture of him with the other girl, and he's doing whatever he can to get out of a relationship he doesn't want to be in anymore. Let's go to Ernest, who's in West Virginia on Grant and Danny. Ernest, what's up? How are you?
How you all doing?
Good, buddy.
Look, I agree with you all. We just got out of almost 30 years of seeing like something, controversy, something. And with you all speaking about it, it's just going to create more controversy as it continue on. It's best that either Dan Quinn or Adam Peters step in and maybe nip it right at the bud. It's time, because it's just going to just get bigger if it doesn't stop. If you're talking about changing the culture and having a professional organization, yeah, I think you just nip it at the bud and say, hey, look, we don't do this. This is not professional. No matter what, got to be a better way of handling it. So I agree with you.
Love that, bud. Thanks.
Thank you, Ernest. I love when you went to camp.
Just going away, doing various things, talking to Vern. I don't know who Vern is, by the way. Who's Vern? We never see him. Point is this. And some of this is going to be a generational thing where
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So this we agree crosses the line of, hey, let's not be overly bearing of our Gen Z quarterback, right? This crosses the line.
Right.
But where is that line? Like, just as an example, if I was the GM, Adam Peters, I would want to call Jayden Daniels into my office, and I would like to say, hey, man, let's spend less time Instagram Living. Now, he's doing nothing wrong. He's just on Instagram Live. But what I would point out to him is, how often do you see Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady? Like, these guys didn't do that. Let's do everything the way that they did it. But I'm not going to do that because he's doing nothing wrong. Right. And just because I grew up in a different era and a different way of having fun doesn't mean I should impose that on him. Where is that line of you got to let him be him? You drafted him. Jayden Daniels is showing up. He's going to be a fun star in D.C. You got to let him show his personality.
To a degree. And the thing I was going to say is there is a generational divide here where I'm in my mid-40s, and my entire life wasn't online. He never lived in an era where he didn't have the ability to turn a cell phone or a camera on himself and share whatever he was thinking at that point in time. This is, again, a wonderful teachable moment because nothing bad has happened, really. I mean, this isn't, you're recording illicit activity or you're doing something crazy that endangers somebody or is inappropriate. This is just one of those kind of innocent ones where you go, see how this can grow, see how this can kind of, here's your cautionary tale, right? Where, I don't know, like if my 10-year-old accidentally came into the room when I had like a Zoom going and like made inappropriate sounds or something like that, I'd go, this is on the internet. This is forever. Now we know. Not that big a deal, but now we can learn that there's potential embarrassment. There's an easy guardrail to adhere to. So some of it's always going to be, as an older person, I have to kind of go, is this me just being a curmudgeon? Not in this case. I'm with you. I'm like, maybe a little bit. You don't have to say everything on Instagram Live. Maybe you don't have to record every FaceTime.
Well,
that's
to that point,
that's what a kid's doing right now. Totally fine.
Am I being a curmudgeon is the right way to look at it. Like, to that point, there will be a time where the greatest quarterback in the league lives on Instagram Live.
Yep.
Like, we are headed there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it'll be Daniels this season. Maybe he's CJ Stroud, and after every game he's doing an hour.
In
he's
3 years he wins an MVP,
right.
And it's like, I'm on Instagram Live from the MVP.
And at that point, every quarterback after that might want to do that. Currently, the greatest to have ever done it, the guys that I really admire and you really admire and people think of as the GOATs at the position, they've done it one way. It's not the way of having everything public and on social media and living your life where you're caring about clicks and views and who's watching you. But that is going to change. And I do think I would file that into I'm a curmudgeon. When I am annoyed by doing the eye roll of like, oh, we're on social media again. Here we go. I'm a curmudgeon. I also, by the way, for work, live on social media. I watch and live tweet every Nats game every single night, right? Part of my gig. I don't think it's necessarily part of his gig to do the Instagram Lives. It's part of ours. But that probably doesn't matter. And I am readily admitting to you, Adam Peters, even if it's something I would want to do as a GM, and I wouldn't. I would refrain from that. You don't got to call him and say, hey, man, you're on Instagram Live too much. But this is past that. This is not I'm a curmudgeon. This is proprietary information. We've crossed the line here. Matt is in Fairfax on Grant and Danny. What's up, Matt? How are you?
Hey, guys. Love the show.
Appreciate you.
My fear with the Commanders is the league going to come down and say this is some kind of tampering? And is this going to spook the league's gambling partners? Or perhaps get like the Department of Justice involved in some kind of investigation if proprietary information is being shared?
It's a great question. It's probably above my pay grade, and thanks for the call.
Whoa, the Department of Justice was a bit, I think, right?
No, I mean, he was basically saying if there's gambling and money on the line and players or teams are sharing proprietary information, which could change the outcome, then there's a whole thing of interstate commerce and betting and regulations are violated. I don't think we're there. I understand the line of thinking. I don't think that rises to this.
If they played on Sunday and they were hanging out and he posted out this picture, maybe we got a conversation then of just how big of a deal that is from a gambling standpoint. This does not rise to that.
No, it doesn't. But the question I think is a fair one. Maybe not the DOJ part, but the initial question of if this is happening now, are we 100% sure it wouldn't happen in October? Are we 100% sure it wouldn't happen in November? We just happened to find out about this one because Brandon I posted it because he's looking for leverage. But if you're doing this now and we hadn't known about it, would you still be doing it in 6 months, 10 months, your year 5 in your career, whatever? Those are fair questions to ask if this is a more common practice.
The part of his call, and I thought it was good, thank you, that appealed to me is the tampering angle. I don't think he is doing anything that he'll get in trouble for. In fact, I know at one point early on, somebody checked in with the team and just made sure, and I think they had reported and come out and said, they're buddies. You're allowed to have friends, essentially. He is under contract. So the idea, like, someone in the front office cannot do what Jayden Daniels is doing, obviously. That would be tampering. The fact that a player is allowed to do it is a strange gray area. Mm-hmm. But you see this in other sports, in the NBA especially, where guys are constantly recruiting each other. A lot of the time, it's via free agency or someone who's not under contract. But how many times have super teams been put together because dudes are at an event and they're having a discussion and they're going, bro, we should play together. If me and you link up and Clary and Darius come with
the
us.
Nantucket house or wherever it was,
Exactly.
Long Island, is how we got the Miami Heat.
So I think they're in the clear on that regard. I don't think there's anything that two buddies that are both players can do that would be considered tampering, to be completely honest. I can double click on that for you guys and I can ask around, but I'm pretty sure that the tampering threshold is above the players. That would be a coach, position of authority, front office, somebody like that. And it is a little bit of a loophole, but this is not new. I mean, recruiting and trying to get your buddy to come play with you has been around since before I was watching football. Let's go to Eric in Warrenton on Grant and Danny here on the Fan. We're live at Nats Park. What's up, Eric?
Hey, boys.
How are you?
I was just thinking about it. I'm pretty good, man. Like, I guess a broader scope, I think of the players as employees of the organization. And so I'm wondering if the Commanders shouldn't be going to the NFL and maybe taking issue with the 49ers organization, because maybe, in quotes, an employee of theirs is gathering and sharing information that's supposed to be proprietary.
Look, Pete, thanks for the call. Peters knows Kyle pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a quick conversation. I don't think you got to – he worked for John Lynch. I don't know that you got to involve the NFL. But control your own employee.
Yeah,
I mean, your own employee gave him the picture. He didn't go into your office like he was working for Richard Nixon
he didn't
decades ago and with flashlights and find some paperwork. I mean, this was clear how this happened. Either it was sent to him, it was given to him, it was shown to him, and he's just sitting there taking a picture. If I'm Adam Peters, I care a lot more about the most important, not just player, person in my building from a judgment standpoint, showing bad judgment.
Yeah, this is one of those, and again, I understand the line of questioning, but I don't think you want to get the NFL involved over something that's pretty minor and persnickety. Then you sort of get that reputation. You're like the neighbor that won't chip in the $5 for whatever cause, and now you've started a feud over something that you probably could solve in-house with a quick text message or a phone call. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the point where your employees are doing both on both sides. You're not in love with what's happening either way. Both Aiyuk posting this thing or getting a hold of it or receiving it, and then your own employee doing it. I don't know if you want to start doing nanny state stuff, though, right? Where you're going, we're not going to cause a fight over this small one. We'll handle this one.
Jackson, Springfield. Jack, do you have an issue with Brandon Aiyuk getting an image or video of the Commanders' practice?
Yeah, fellas, good afternoon. It's mighty hot out here. Hey, as a public service announcement, for those young folks that fell asleep in civics or history class, Grant was talking about Watergate. So Google Watergate, and you'll see what he's talking about.
That's a good bit, sir.
My point here is, look, I would think in the age, how long have we had cell phones? I think it was after the existence of the NFL that there's some fairly extensive cell phone policy, IT policy, whatever you want to call it, that employees would probably have to sign. Not only someone read it to them because, they probably get a lot of stuff thrown in front of them as they come on the team, but that would be one that I would probably have someone read out loud before the team member signs it so they know, how things can go bad with those cell phones. I know all these young folks are really concerned with their image, and that would need to be made clear. The next point would be the person who should drive that point home, in my opinion, no doubt should be the head coach.
Yep.
Not the offensive coordinator, the big dog, not the owner. They don't start that owner crap where they start coming down and having that personal relationship, so to speak, on the Jets with the quarterbacks like Knucklehead did. But the head coach, letting him know this is his baby. I'm giving you a mulligan here. Do it again, and we're going to have an issue. Thanks.
Great phone call. Thanks.
Thank you, Jack.
I love the idea of only referring to Dan Snyder as Knucklehead.
The Knucklehead.
Not even just Knucklehead. Like, so good.